Hi, this is Michelle with the SGPP Writing Center at St. Mary's University of Minnesota, and today we're going to talk about essay basics. Now, the objectives of this video are to provide you with an overview of the parts of an essay, review examples of common types of essays and their structure, give suggestions for strong essay structure, and then troubleshoot common essay writing issues. Now, just a word of warning, what we're going to talk about in this video is just our opinion here in the Writing Center about essay structure. Your instructor in your assignment might disagree with those things, so please do always check with your assignment sheet and your instructor when you are working on any assignment, and we are also happy to help you kind of decipher assignment sheets in the Writing Center if you'd like to make an appointment, and I'll give you information on that at the end. Okay, so basic essay structure. An essay usually has three parts: an introduction, a body, and a conclusion. Now, depending on the kind of essay, each one of these things might have different things. For example, an introduction might have a background, it might have a significant section, it might have key terms or definitions. A body section might have literature review, it might have a discussion section, it might have recommendations for something to happen or for future research, and then a conclusion might have a summary, it might have some future research implications, and it might have a reflection. So depending on the kind of assignment you are doing, you will have different components. However, two big things we like to talk about in the Writing Center are every introduction should have a thesis statement, and your thesis statement outlines your essay. So it's usually one sentence. It might be two or three sentences depending on the length of your essay or what kind of essay you're writing, but your thesis statement should outline the point of your essay. Why are you writing this essay? That should be present in your introduction. And then every body paragraph should have a topic sentence that connects back to your thesis statement. And we'll sort of talk about connection later, but these are two things that we believe in the Writing Center every essay should have, no matter what kind of essay it is. So again, introduction, body, conclusion. Your introduction should have a thesis statement, and then each body paragraph should have a topic sentence that connects back to your thesis statement. Okay, so we're going to talk about essay structure for different kinds of assignments. And up here at the top, I have reflection, lit review, critique, action research. These are four common types of essays that we see in the Writing Center. So let's look at the purpose for each one. And I'm actually not going to read every box for you here. You can do that. I'm just going to give you a few examples. So for example, for a lit review, the purpose might be to find agreement or not amongst experts. That's the purpose of this kind of paper. While for an action research paper, the purpose might be to propose a project or to report on findings. So even though you're writing an essay for each one, the purpose of those essays are different, and that informs your organizational pattern. So let's talk about that. So for a lit review, the usual organizational pattern would be topic by topic. So each paragraph in your body would have a topic. You're going to discuss what the experts say about that topic. Then your next paragraph will have a different topic. You're going to discuss what the experts say about that topic. But for an action research project, the organizational pattern is usually process oriented, so it's going to talk about the steps within your research. And you might have a findings section, stuff like that, but the bulk of it will be process oriented. So again, even though these are both essays, obviously, they have a different organizational pattern. And from that are your sections. So in a lit review, the sections are here, usually have an introduction, background, a literature review, and a discussion, and then a conclusion. So the background, lit review, and discussion would all be part of the body. While in an action research project over here, you'll have an introduction and a conclusion again, and then the body would have some extra sections, a background, a methodology section usually, the action research, discussion, maybe recommendations. So again, the actual sections that are in each kind of essay are a little bit different depending on the essay that you are writing. And then I have some sample thesis statements here at the end so you can see how they're all a little bit different. Even though you're writing an essay, every kind of essay is different. I guess that's the point of this slide. So looking at your assignment sheet and figuring out what is this assignment asking me for is really important. We have a couple of great handouts on that topic on our website that I will link you to again at the end. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, there will be a link in the discussion box below, or the description box below. Okay, so now that you know that different kinds of essays have different structures and sort of how those might look, let's talk about how do you create a strong essay structure no matter the kind of essay you are writing. We're going to focus on three things here. Focus is one of them, connection is another, and patterns is the last one. So for focus, a really big issue is having a thesis statement that is neither too broad nor too narrow. A lot of times if you feel sort of stuck with your essay, either you don't have enough to say or you have way too much to say, it might be because your thesis statement the scope isn't quite right. So let's look at an example here. Let's look at the reflection too narrow. So this thesis statement might be a little bit too narrow. This student teaching experience taught me that I can be successful at teaching a poetry unit to high school students. I could probably write 2 or 3 paragraphs about that, but I'd probably struggle to write more than that. And then I'd feel really frustrated because, what else can I say about this? That's a hint to me that my thesis statement is too narrow. On the other hand of this spectrum, over here too broad, this student teaching experience was amazing. I could probably write a whole book about that, and there have been whole books written about that. So I'd probably feel really frustrated because I have way too much to say and I'm not sure how to organize it. Here is one that is probably just right. The student teaching experience confirmed my interest in teaching at-risk students. I could probably write a 7 to 10 page essay on that. I'd probably feel like I had enough to say without feeling overwhelmed by my material. So that's a hint that it's just right. So that's a really great place to start when you are writing an essay, is making sure that your thesis statement has a strong focus. And this is a great thing to do before you actually write your essay. So that way you'll be on the right track as you are writing. And we can, of course, help you with that. So here are some questions to help you troubleshoot your focus. Are you struggling to find enough to write about? Did you struggle to find sources? Your focus might be too narrow. So if you are in the research process even and you really just can't find any sources, or maybe you have to have 10 sources and you can only find 4, that might be a hint that you should broaden your thesis statement. On the other hand, do you feel like you aren't going into depth with anything? Your focus might be too broad. So if you're in the research process and you found, 500,000 sources on your topic, that's probably a good hint that your topic is too broad, your scope is too broad. So you'll want to focus that. Okay, so let's look at connection next. And like I said earlier, this is going to focus on thesis statements and topic sentences. So your thesis statement should connect to your body, to your topic sentences. Like I said, each paragraph should start with a topic sentence that outlines the paragraph and connects back to the thesis statement. I'm talking a lot about our resources, but we also have a learning module called Paragraphs 101 that talks about paragraph structure. That would be a great place to learn about paragraph structure specifically, so you should check that out as well. Okay, so here's a sample thesis statement over here. The literature reviewed showed clear connections between poverty, racial discrimination, and poor academic achievement for at-risk students. I have highlighted here in red some of the key terms: poverty, academic achievement, and at-risk students. So from there, I would build my body sections. So if we look at the body section, these would probably be section headings within my paper. I have poverty and academic achievement, and then I have racial discrimination and academic achievement. And I've highlighted the same words in red. So I'm using the same words for each within my thesis statement and then in my body sections. This lets me know that I'm on the right track, I'm connecting everything, and it's a great hint for my reader. How does everything work together in my paper? Well, here it's explicit. I see the same words, so those connections are probably going to be clearer than if I use synonyms. So if we took the body section of poverty and academic achievement and wrote some topic sentences, these might be what we came up with. And again, I have the same words: poverty, at risk, poverty, academic achievement. So this makes sure that everything is explicitly connected for my reader and myself, so that we're all sort of on the same page. And that really helps with clarity, and it helps make sure that you are defending your thesis statement, which is the goal of your paper. So here are some tips to troubleshoot your connections. Highlight the key terms in your thesis statement and then make sure one appears in every topic sentence. That's the process I did on the other page. Another thing you could do is cut and paste all of your topic sentences from one section into a new document and make sure they all make sense in order. This is called reverse outlining, and it's a really great strategy if you feel like you are struggling with organization. And we have a handout on that too. We have a handout on everything, I think. All right, the last thing here is patterns. This is something I don't think students usually think about. So let's look at, we have 2 patterns here. Let's try to figure out what the last star would be in terms of color. So what would the color of this star be? What would the color of this star be? I'll give you a couple seconds to try to figure it out. So it should be pretty obvious, I hope, that the color of this star over here would be blue. Wow, the color of this star over here, we're not really sure because the pattern in this pattern 2 isn't really clear. It might be orange, might be green, might be blue, might be some new color that we're just going to start using. So using patterns helps your reader know what to expect next. And that gives them some brain room to sort of listen to your point. If your essay is really disorganized, it's hard for readers to understand what you're saying because they're just trying to keep up with the organization and figure stuff out. So here are some things to let your reader know what to expect in terms of patterns. One great thing is to begin and end each section in the same way. So every section starts with a question. That way your reader knows, okay, we're starting a new section and here's what we're going to answer. Another thing is ending each paragraph with a transitional statement. That would also help with connections. And finally, being consistent with things like paragraph length, formatting, word usage, stuff like that. Paragraph length is something I see a lot. Students will have a really long paragraph and then a really, really short paragraph. And that's jarring to read. And then usually it's one paragraph is really developed and then this next paragraph isn't developed and I'm not really sure how they fit together. And that kind of takes me out of the essay and I get confused and then it's hard for me to get back into your point. Things like word usage, capitalization, abbreviations, being really consistent with those things. If you use like a keyword in the beginning of your essay, use the same keyword throughout. Don't switch to a synonym because your reader may not make the switch with you. The same thing with abbreviations. If you start using an abbreviation, totally fine. Just keep using it throughout so that way your reader knows what's happening. Here are some tips to troubleshoot patterns within your essay. One thing you can do is highlight the first sentence in each section and see if they all match in terms of function. Like I said, maybe you start every sentence or every section with a question. Maybe you start every section with a quotation from a famous person in your field, something like that. And then make sure you are capitalizing key terms and using abbreviations consistently throughout. So maybe you literally print your paper out and highlight them and look for those things. Maybe you use the highlight function in Word or even the find and search function in Word. But being consistent helps with clarity and it also helps, your reader and your instructor know that you are good at looking at those little details. Okay, so I hope this gave you an overview of essay basics. We are happy to work with you on your essays at any point. If you are just starting with an assignment sheet and you're not sure where to go, if you are in the middle of it and you're sort of stuck, if you're at the end in the revising process, we are happy to help. You can make an appointment with us at our website at tcwright.smumn.edu. You can also give us a call or send us an email at the addresses below. All right, have a great day.